What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Morphinominal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Tokusatsu news and reviews right here over on our YouTube page, A-Plus Morphinominal. Thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us every Saturday, or at least majority of the time, every Saturday going live at noon Central Time, where we highlight all this week's news information for you guys and break it down for you, and not only sharing our opinions on each topic, but also getting yours, guys. So remember, if you're in our live chat, if you're joining us on a week-to-week basis, feel free to give your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below after this particular video airs, and we'll definitely go ahead and continue to have discussion with you guys. So we've got ourselves a few topics that we're going to be getting into today, not too jam-packed. I think the idea of us having an impromptu episode on Monday kind of relieved some of the pressure going into this weekend's episode of A-Plus More Phenomenal. Just not that many stories, since we tackled some already earlier in the week. But we've got at least maybe 5 things that we're going to be talking with you guys about today. And then, of course, at the end of the show, getting to your guys' live viewer questions. How do you submit your live viewer questions? I'm glad you guys ask every weekend. Submit them over to aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. Again, aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. You can send them throughout the entirety of the week if you'd like to. We'll definitely go ahead and try and highlight your questions at the end of this particular episode, guys. So yeah, I hope everybody's week has certainly gone well. Hopefully it's kicked off the right way. I usually think A-Plus More Phenomenal kicks your weekends off the right way, if you ask me. But let's see who's in the live chat. Give some shout outs to people that do in fact join us. We got Koala in the house. What's up, Koala? Always coming through. Power Rangers Legacy. It's Morphin time. Legacy, thank you very much as always, man. We got Adam Perea in the house. I swear, just one letter off from probably being my twin. We got Frankie. What's up, Frankie? Good to see you around here as always. AJ in the house, always coming through with his Dino Fury victory. We got Marcelino Vasquez in here as well as Zachary coming through today, man. Good to see you in here. Adam's impressed with the fro. Hey, listen, can you have it? Listen, this was some work, man. This was like 2-3 years of just letting my hair grow. It's got a little bit of the fro, it's got a little bit of the curls. I do need to go ahead and get a little bit of a shape up, hopefully sometime this week. We'll see. The problem that I'm having right now with my hair, guys, not to get on a tangent, is that since I've moved from Louisville to Fort Worth now, it is a situation of my barber was in Louisville. I've had this barber ever since I literally moved to Texas back in like 2002. And so the idea of now being like 45 minutes away from the guy, you know, it's not like I can just, I can't catch him sometimes, because I think he closes at like 7. I usually get off at work about 6 o'clock. You know, I'm not one of those people that come in like 15 minutes before a shop closes and is like, hey, I need a haircut type of thing, you know? So it does make the commute a little bit longer, harder to certainly get out. I almost don't want to have to find a new barber out here in Fort Worth. I'm sure maybe I could, but you know, when you got somebody that just knows your hair, knows how to cut it, it's hard to try and find somebody else. But I will try and certainly go ahead and get a little bit of a cleanup if I can, maybe sometime next week. Maybe trim maybe like 2 inches or so off the top, and then maybe see if I can find me a stylist or something like that to kind of do something with my hair. But we'll see. I appreciate it though, Adam. Thank you very much for appreciating the fro. We got JB says what in the house also. I actually don't really look at it so much as a fro, because it's actually more like a faux hawk, but the sides just aren't trimmed down right now. Usually I'll usually will fade the sides and keep the top all the way back, looking pretty sharp, looking curly. But yeah, not this time around. Who else we got in here? We got Blossom in the house. Thank you very much, Blossom, for certainly coming through. We got Shadow Nova as well. Shadow Nova Productions in the house also, guys. So thank you very much for always coming through. Let's see here. We got a couple topics we're going to be breaking down for you guys today. I'm really excited for it because of the fact that I think this upcoming month in August is going to be here before we know it. It's going to be here right around the corner. This year has been flying by. You know, I think we all dreaded 2020 to say the least. But 2021 is kind of come and gone already. I mean, we're already 7 months into this year. It feels like it just went by like that. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But yeah, I'm eager for it. And one of the reasons why I'm eager for the upcoming August is, in fact, because it's going to be National Power Rangers Day in August that we're going to be having, along with Hasbro announcing. So a lot of goodness to certainly look forward to. Quick shout out to Datilla for certainly coming through as always. If you guys aren't following Datilla, she has a YouTube channel of her own, Rangers of Wrestling. Definitely go ahead and check it out. Big wrestling fan. I believe SmackDown, if I'm not mistaken, was in front of a live audience this past weekend. I missed yesterday's episode, but I saw it all over my Twitter account and things like that. So really cool to kind of see the crowd back at WWE events. Who else we got in the house? We got Isaiah the Black Ranger. What's up, Isaiah? Thank you very much for certainly coming through also. All right, guys, you know what? Let's start getting into our main topics today. We kind of talked about it already. The idea that Power Month is certainly upon us. It's going to be here before we know it. In 2 weeks, it's going to creep up. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Hasbro mentioned, especially at their last Fan First Friday event that they had, that each week they were going to be releasing brand new products and details, if you will, probably from different companies. At least I'm hoping so. And maybe a little bit of news here or there is what I'm kind of hoping for also. It would not surprise me if we wind up getting ourselves clearly another Fan First Friday during this time. They haven't announced when Hasbro's PulseCon is this year, have they? I'm still waiting on a release date, or not a release date, but as an actual date as to when that upcoming convention is certainly going to be, because it's one that I'm thoroughly interested in. If there is any spot that I think we might get some promising sort of Jonathan Entwistle, future Power Ranger news type of thing, I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that it's going to be for the PulseCon. I mean, we've even heard Brian Goldner in, like, I think the first quarter call earlier this year, mentioning the idea that they have some big announcements that are going to be coming relatively soon. Maybe relatively soon means the Hasbro PulseCon. And the only reason why I say that is I feel like last time that they had a PulseCon, they actually did dabble in the Power Ranger reboot information. Again, it was like really brief, nothing too major, if I recall, but they didn't shy away from at least bringing it up. So I am expecting them to kind of bring it up in PulseCon. So we'll see. Hopefully we wind up. One of the things that I'm hoping for, as you guys saw at the very top here, when it comes to our thumbnail and even our main title of today's episode, what will in fact be revealed when it comes to Power Month, right? What are some of the hopes? What are some of the expectations we certainly would like to see from the month as a whole when it comes to whether it be products or just information in regards to the franchise? And one of the things that I would like to see this upcoming month in August, one certainly would be a release date for the actual PulseCon convention. I'm kind of hoping that they drop that down, even though it's not specifically driven towards just Power Rangers, right? That is usually an opportunity for Hasbro to talk about all their properties, from Ghostbusters, Dungeons and Dragons, Transformers, G.I. Joes, just a plethora of IP that Hasbro contains. But they usually at least put aside 45 minutes, if you will, to Power Rangers. And I'm really hoping, really looking forward to that. So hopefully Power Month will give us a Hasbro PulseCon 2021 debut date, if you will. I think one of the more obvious ones that we clearly know that we're going to be getting will certainly be Lightning Collection pieces. I don't think there's any misunderstanding here that when it comes to Power Month, it's probably going to be driven highly by its toys, whether that be toys or new collectibles. I am expecting either a new Lightning Collection wave to be released, maybe some combo packs that we are not privy to as of yet. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that a Cliptor and Astronema 2-pack will certainly be revealed here in Power Month. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to some Lightning Collection stuff. Definitely looking forward to some combo packs also. A couple things I would really like to see more cosplay props revealed, whether that be, whatever other production companies want to go ahead and create content for Power Rangers. We've seen it already in regards to like some of the helmets that they've been able to provide, right? Like we just got the Pink Ranger helmet. We also in the past have had the Red Ranger and the White Ranger. And they may even do like certain themes each and every week. Like I believe last year when they announced the idea of a Power Month, it said it's going to be a month-long event where retailers will be creating different capsules of merchandise, such as GameStop doing their pink capsule and Walmart kind of doing their retro capsule. So I am expecting themes each week to eventually be revealed, like those themes eventually revealing whether that be action figures or collectible pieces for them to certainly go ahead and sell. So again, Lightning Collection pieces I'm expecting. I really would like to see new cosplay props, not even necessarily just the helmets, but maybe even some maybe like life-size weapons. One of the things that I was seeing was like the return of they were going to re-release the Dragonzord dagger, if you will. I kind of loved that. That was definitely a very like life-size sort of a prop, if you will, life-size weapon. And so I am kind of hoping that they pull the trigger on maybe another weapon this season for Power Rangers for them to go ahead and reveal. Again, whether that's part of a pink capsule, retro capsule, in space capsule, right? Like a galaxy or universal themed kind of thing, whatever the case may be. I definitely would like to see more cosplay props, if you will. Because, one of the things that we talked about maybe this past weekend or on Monday was the idea of, my disappointment in the Chroma Fury saber that they showcased at the last Fan First Friday. Again, kid size, and there's nothing wrong with them making that product. That's cool and all. But if you're going to make that product that's like this tiny little thing that you can hold in your hand, it looks cool, great for the kids. I'm sure some collectors of Power Ranger toys will certainly still pick it up. But for me, if you're going to make me a Chroma Fury saber, I'm gonna need a life-size prop. I'm gonna need a life-size prop. So I really hope that they come through with some, again, even if it's an expensive piece, I would be perfectly okay with that because people will in fact purchase it. I also would like to see a new Megazord revealed, and not just the Dino Fury Megazord, but I would like to see maybe a more retro Megazord revealed also. I did recently just see one. I don't know if this is from Bandai or another company that creates replicas or whatever the case may be, but I thought I saw one of recently of the Thunder Megazord, if I'm not mistaken, which looked incredible. Had articulation in the knees, in the hands. You could replace the hands and stuff. Superposable Megazord. It looks fantastic. So I am hoping that we do get ourselves maybe one or two new Megazords that will in fact be released, even if they are re-releases, maybe a more sort of modern take on them. I think would certainly really go a long way. So Lightning Collection pieces I would like to see, collectible pieces in regards to more like cosplay props or items, and definitely a couple new Megazords for them to go ahead and release. And I think one of the things that a lot of people are really looking forward to, Dino Fury toys. I really do hope that Power Month really pushes forward more Dino Fury toys for people to collect, whether it is Megazord pieces. I think we even saw some of the last Fan First Friday, a glimpse in regards to some of the new Megazord products that they're working on, right? Like the Mosa Razor, I believe is what they're calling it. There's even like a new pterodactyl one, also like the egg one that shapes into a pterodactyl from the Rio Soldier. So they definitely do have other stuff in the streamline or in the pipeline that they're currently working on. But push those Dino Fury toys. I think like August would be a really great place to go ahead and release them, or at least showcase them and make them available for pre-order, because I do think it would add to just the hypeness, especially when it comes to August, of the eventual return of Dino Fury. Now that we've gotten the first 11 episodes out, you've got people craving these toys, wanting these toys. The demand is certainly high, or at least everything that I've been reading over on Twitter for some of my other people that I do follow in the Ranger world. I'm really hoping that Power Month certainly delivers when it comes to Dino Fury toys. So I am definitely looking forward to some of those reveals. And speaking of the Dino Fury toy reveals, again, this doesn't all have to be released within one Fan First Friday in the month, right? If anything, trickle out some of this news as the entire month progresses. So even though I do have a feeling it'll probably be focused more along the toy side of things, I do want to see, if they're not going to dabble in any television news per se. I would like them at least to tackle a return date for Dino Fury. Maybe you make 1 week an entire Dino Fury week where you reveal brand new toys that are available for pre-order, and along the way, maybe you give us a return date for Dino Fury, whether that be in regards to its returning to Nickelodeon, returning to Netflix for the second half of this first season. Just a little bit of clarity, because I think some people might have been confused or still kind of waiting for that episode 12 when you dropped it during Power Morphicon as a preview saying coming soon, right? Like, what exactly does coming soon mean? Clearly not 2 or 3 weeks later, as we're still waiting for episode 12 to drop. But I am hoping that Power Month does at least reveal to us the return date of Power Rangers, whether that be to Netflix or Nickelodeon. Just some clarity along with some pushing of some Dino Fury toys also. 2 last things I really would like to see as well. Again, not necessarily surrounding the toy products per se or collectibles and cosplay items, but some other things I definitely would like to see. Boom Studios, when it comes to just comic books and what they're going to be pushing forward. A new series, I think, would be fantastic in regards to being revealed. And if not a reveal of a new series, maybe some upcoming one-shots or sort of graphic novels that they certainly might have in store, right? Like, I think Comic-Con at Home, a couple years back, I think they had a great sort of Boom Studios panel that highlighted upcoming projects that they were going to be working on. I think we wind up getting, like, was that Sins of the Future when they revealed that to us, or at least gave us a little bit more insight in regards to some of the characters and things like that to look forward to. It's something along those lines that I definitely would like to see. It doesn't have to be in a big sort of panel presentation, but if Boom Studios wants to spend a week themselves revealing to us some upcoming series or one-shots or graphic novels, I'll be completely on board with that, because I feel like the furthest out that I felt like they've done so far, that we've kind of caught up to now, was in fact the Phantom Ranger one shot of Power Rangers Unlimited, that kind of ties into the more recent Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin issues that we've certainly have had. We had that preview like months in advance, and now we finally have kind of caught up to that. Same thing with Mighty Morphin issue number 10. So I am kind of curious as to what the future for Boom Studios holds, right? Like, is there an upcoming sort of the big event that we have to start planning for this upcoming summer or fall, if you will? I'm kind of hoping that Power Month allows Boom Studios to kind of give us those new details, if you will. One other thing I definitely would like to see, and this might actually jump into our next story that we talk about. They teased, I thought, the idea of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Lightning Collection. Am I wrong in that? If you guys recall the tease, I swear I thought somewhere somebody teased that, or at least maybe that was maybe something I wanted to see. I can't recall. I swear that they kind of teased the idea of a TMNT Lightning Collection, because if you guys recall, if you've had the opportunity to read the first crossover comics from Boom Studios and IDW, it was a 5-part mini series that they wind up doing, where we got the opportunity to actually see not only the Power Rangers in a more ninjutsu, Ninja Turtle kind of costume setup, if you will, but we also got the opportunity to see the Ninja Turtles utilizing the morphers and turning into their own like Power Turtle Rangers, if you will, with their own costumes. So a part of me is kind of hoping that look, Power Month, guys, if we're going to pull the trigger on this TMNT Lightning Collection, please give it to me this month. Please reveal them for us in regards to what we can certainly expect. I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with with the number one thing that we talked about that we probably see would be Lightning Collection pieces. But if they want to give us a wave of Ninja Turtles designed as Power Rangers in like a 5-pack or something like that, I'll take it. Give me 2 5-packs. Give me the TMNT in Power Ranger form and the Power Rangers in TMNT form. I would eat that shit up in a heartbeat. So I am hoping that those are just some of the things that I definitely would like to see. So overall, I've got about 8 things during Power Month I certainly would like to see. Again, Lightning Collection pieces, obviously, whether that be a new wave, 2 packs, whatever the case may be, I'm cool with. Number two, I would like to see cosplay props in regards to new helmets, maybe some life-size collectible props, if you will. I'll be completely on board with that. Number three, more collectible Megazords, even if it is re-releasing Megazords as you've done before, maybe a more modernized, if you will, more articulation. I'm kind of hoping that maybe there's one or two Megazords that they certainly have in an announcement for us outside of the Dino Fury stuff. Speaking of Dino Fury, again, coming through with my my fourth thing I would certainly like to see, Dino Fury toys, in fact, revealed, along with the return date for Dino Fury. And then, of course, the TMNT live action stuff or Lightning Collection stuff. And then, of course, some new Boom Studios series. But guys, I want to know your thoughts. Is there anything in particular when it comes to Power Month you would certainly like to see wind up dropping? You know, I even would like to see, and I don't know when this winds up coming out because of the fact that I didn't put any money, unfortunately, to the Kickstarter in here. But we also have Legends of the White Dragon, if I'm not mistaken, that has officially wrapped from everything that I've heard over from JDF. Oh, damn it. Is the mic working? Okay, sorry, I dropped my mic for a second. If anything, I feel like maybe it's wrapped from everything that I've seen over in IG, over from IG with JDF. I feel like the people that did the Kickstarter will probably get the movie first, or maybe get the glimpse of the movie. I don't really know when the release date is for that particular project, but I think it would be really fitting if it dropped in August for Power Month, so at least to the available public. So a part of me is kind of hoping that maybe that's another announcement that we wind up getting, whether that's from JDF. That's like, you know what, I'm gonna make a moment of myself. I don't care if Hasbro gives me the okay to make this announcement during Power Month or not. But I would love to see JDF actually go out there and give an announcement as to the release date for Legends of the White Dragon. I would love to check it out. Love to review it for you guys also. But yeah, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Those are just some of the things I would personally like to see for Power Month. If you think there's something that's missing off of my list, or you want to get more detailed in regards to what you guys would certainly like to see, go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. And again, one of the reasons why I didn't make any announcements in regards to like Jonathan Entwistle stuff, or Power Ranger movie, or the reboot reimagined TV series, I think all that stuff is certainly still in development, that they still want to go ahead and hold off on it. So I don't necessarily think that's going to be revealed here, but I am keeping my fingers crossed that, again, Hasbro PulseCon 2021, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that's where we'll certainly get it. But let me go ahead and jump into some of you guys' comments and give some shout outs to people that might have joined us a little bit late also, and kind of see what you guys are thinking in regards to what you personally would like to see for Power Month, a whole entire month of Power Rangers. Do you guys think we'll get something like an announcement of stuff once a week? Or do you think I'm kind of curious, like, are we going to have all 30 days? Like, is there going to be a news or information drop about something, like just a morsel of something one each day, or maybe like 2 to 3 days throughout the week? I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think in regards to how they'll reveal some of this news. Isaiah, what are you going to be expecting on August 1st for Power Month? What you usually happen on August 1st with Power Rangers month? First off, I will say this: if you're going to tell me it's Power Month, I'm gonna need an announcement on the very first day of August. I'm just gonna need one. It's just gonna feel weird if August comes and there's no information on the very first day. If anything, I think Lightning Collection will probably be the first thing that they wind up, because I just think it's probably the most recognizable thing. I mean, when you go to any Fan First Friday, right? I feel like that's the only thing that they really talk about is Lightning Collection, or like toys and things like that. So it would not surprise me if come August 1st it is a Lightning Collection piece, but I could be wrong. That's just what I'm assuming. Dentilla says I have that the exact same shirt. You talking about this Power Ranger, the giant size Power Ranger shirt? Yeah, I think I might have picked this one up from like Walmart or something like that. I can't remember, or maybe Target a while back. I can't recall. Power Rangers Legacy Dino Fury cast has been pretty inactive on social media lately. No Dino Fury stuff surfacing, pretty quiet. I mean, that makes sense. You know, the cast for the most part, everybody's back home. Probably, you know, after 9 long months of filming, probably wanting taking, you know, take some vacation time for themselves. You know, just cut off social media, maybe, you know, enjoy just time with their friends and family now that they're kind of back home. And yeah, I think the idea that there's not a lot of Dino Fury stuff kind of happening. So there's probably not too much to talk about unless you're Hunter Deno and everybody's like loving every little thing that you do, sort of thing. So and I guess it just also depends on the activity that, you know, how in tune to social media was half this cast before Dino Fury even dropped also. So I definitely expected it to be a lot more quiet after after wrapping has certainly happened. But if anything, what I am picking up on is actually more past Rangers announcing Comic-Cons and going back to conventions and things like that. If anything, from the new Dino Fury cast, maybe some interviews that they certainly have had lined up upcoming. But for the most part, they definitely seem to be just kind of doing their own thing now, which they certainly deserve after incredible filming that took place. Blossom says, I would love to see toys for Dino Fury. I got one of Amelia already, but I'll also save up for more. Yeah, I'm really hoping that more Dino Fury toys wind up coming out of Dino Fury month. So definitely. I think we've seen photos maybe of like, was it Zato and Ollie? I believe the red and blue ones from past photos that were leaked. I think in the same photo that might have been leaked of Ecliptor and Astronema, I think on there was not only the red Sentry from the Coinless universe, but also blue and red Dino Fury. So I am kind of hoping that Power Month, they actually officially allow those to be available for pre-order. Ooh, Marcelino. He says, do you think Hasbro PulseCon will promote the new Power Ranger RPG Day of Destiny? And what are your thoughts on the new RPG? If anything, let's add that to Power Month. Let's add that to Power Month. I would not be surprised if Day of Destiny does get some shine for the RPG fans out there. Me personally, I don't know too much about it. Let me see. Day of Destiny RPG. I am Let me see what this is talking about. Is it a collectible game? Hold on, let me see. Power Rangers. Oh, it's a new show announced, huh? New live RPG show, Power Rangers Day of Destiny, announced by Renegade Game Studios. Power Ranger RPG show called Day of Destiny was announced at Renegade Con virtual lineup. The new role-playing game show will have its first episode during Renegade Con virtual special edition. This will be the first of many episodes in the new live stream production. Power Rangers has been working on spreading to other mediums other than the TV show ever seen. Ninja Steel, yada yada yada. This is not the first tabletop RPG show, as Hyper RPG created Hyperforce, which featured an original. Look. It looks like it'll feature a new RPG system, which has been talked about being created and released. This is suggested in the text, yada, yada, yada. You know, guys, the only RPG I'm really fascinated in is if it's a video game. You know, I'm okay with, I mean, listen, I'm not going to crap on this because I was a fan of Hyperforce. Even though I didn't stick around Hyperforce for very long past episode 3, I really enjoyed what they wind up creating. So I have no doubt that Power Rangers RPG Day of Destiny is going to be killer. I think it's going to be great. It's probably just not for me though. The idea here that I got to get my hopes up from another RPG Day of Destiny when you couldn't even give me a season 2 of the first one, right? So like, what am I getting? Am I getting my hopes up in this one to just not have, like, are you guys not going to be committed to doing anything a second season after this? Is it just the idea of like, hey, we're going to play this RPG game Day of Destiny and that's it, and that's done, sort of thing? So I guess for me, I don't want to spend the time getting invested in something that could possibly not have a second outcome or not have anything come out of it similar to that of Hyperforce, right? Like, we haven't gotten anything animated, we haven't gotten a comic book, we haven't gotten a season 2 sort of thing. Is this something else that I'm just going to be spending my time investing in and not having a proper outcome? Sounds cool. I'm sure people will absolutely love it. I'll probably check out the first couple of episodes, but if it's going to be another 3 hour long or 2 hour long session each time I sit down and watch it, I just don't got time for that, guys. I just don't. And maybe you guys do, but for me, when I have to make like 9 to 10 videos a week for YouTube, I got a girlfriend that I'm definitely have to make sure I'm paying attention to so she don't get mad at me and kick me out, sort of thing, right? There's just a ton of stuff going on in my life. I work full time, 8 to 5, or 8, I should say 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. Also on top of that, if RPG Day of Destiny is going to be another 2-3 hours sit down every week to watch, I just don't have the time for it. But for those of you who do, you're probably in for a treat. And I really do hope that Power Month pushes this forward and highlights it and gets it even more shine than that of Hyperforce. Because I was really pleased with what they did. Super creative, great storytelling with Hyperforce RPG. Some really great, I mean, even connecting them to the lore, making them, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe, aren't they an official Power Ranger team or something like that? I hope the same thing comes out of RPG. So yeah, I probably will watch the first 2 episodes, get an idea of what they're certainly talking about. Who knows? Maybe I'll stick around, but I'm just not trying to get my hopes up when Hyperforce was awesome and they did nothing with it. I don't know if maybe the story was just complete from Hyperforce and they're like, we don't have anything else to go on or anywhere else to go. Maybe Hyperforce will lead into Day of Destiny. Like, is that how they're gonna play it up to fit it into continuity? I don't know. We'll see if we get more details as it comes out. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. I really do appreciate that, Marcelino, because I feel like I saw RPG Day of Destiny, but I don't think I fully understood what it was. I thought it was just another sort of RPG card game that you sit down at your tabletop with your friends, you take home, right? Not an actual show that they're going to be broadcasting, an actual RPG sort of game. You know what I mean? So, cool concept. I wish it the best of luck. I just don't know if it's going to be for me or if I'm going to have the time for it. But I add that to the list of what they can certainly promote in Power Month. I think it would be a really great spot for them to go ahead and promote it for sure. Izzy, what's up, Izzy? Izzy in the house. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Blossom in regards to other things she would like to see on Power Month. Lightning collection of Justin from Turbo. Okay, interesting. I'm trying to think of like head sculpture. If they add an additional head sculpture to Justin from Turbo, do they put the little kid head on the adult sized body? Or can we get full grown Justin as Turbo and then like a little miniature Justin also that you can interchange out the heads with? I would be curious to see how they would pull that off, Blossom, but I like the way you're thinking. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of him, I don't know if Blake deserves a character or not, a Lightning Collection piece, but who knows? Maybe he'll get one that way. That'd be pretty awesome. You would also like to see a new series that will be after Dino Fury. I like it. Whether or not we'll get that, who certainly knows. But if anything, I feel like those announcements as to what will come after Dino Fury will probably be the following year in 2022. But we'll see. Jared, what's up, Jared? Appreciate you coming through today. He says, I seen the leaked figure of the Legend of the White Dragon on Instagram. Oh, he's got a figure out too. Very nice. I hope it's got some great articulation to it, man. Let's see here. Isaiah, he says, I think casual should make a Power Ranger SPD Lightning Collection Red Ranger helmet. I like it. SPD is a great helmet choice. We got Sarav in the house. Thank you very much, Sarav, for certainly coming through. Ooh, so not only just a SPD Red Ranger helmet, but also a Turbo Pink Ranger helmet. Okay, very nice. Very nice choices. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Turbo, they do have a pretty great helmet. Edward Sanchez Productions in the house. Thank you very much, Edward, for certainly coming through. Frankie over here saying summertime heat wave in Texas. It's not too bad today. I feel like the summer hasn't been too bad so far, surprisingly. I don't know if August is just waiting idly by to kick our ass all of a sudden or what, but I feel like when it comes to Texas, this is off topic, I know. I feel like when it comes to Texas this year, we've gotten more rain than anything, which feels odd to me. Like I really look, I know there's no way that I can transport the rain that Texas has been getting to the West Coast, but I gotta tell you guys, every day that it rains around here, I feel fucking miserable. Like I feel so like it's not like I did like some rain dance and called the rain. Like it's not like it's my fault, but I feel hella like just hella sad that we're getting all this rain earlier in the season that we never really hardly get, that the West Coast could really be taking, right? And I almost feel like they've gotten a heat wave that maybe we normally get in Texas. It really hasn't been that hot out here, surprisingly. Like we've had some hot days, don't get me wrong, but not hot like I'm used to. So I tell you, man, El Nino's a bitch. Well, I mean, climate change for sure. Let's see here. DHR2 says this may sound funny, but imagine Hasbro having a Power Ranger slot machine in all casinos for Power Month. That would be great, right? To celebrate big money. Dragonzord. Cha-cha-ching. I love it. We got Midwest in the house. Thank you very much, Midwest. Appreciate you coming through. I agree with you, Marcelino. He says RPG is not my style either, but I hope Day of Destiny does well so that Hyperforce gets more attention either in comic book animated show or season 2. I definitely agree. I mean, I think the idea alone that they're making a second one shows that maybe Hyperforce was a success, right? And the fact that they're putting the energy towards making a second one, I think means that they really want to be able to still have that niche occupied by Power Rangers, and realizing that there is a fan base that really enjoys that type of stuff. So I really do hope, similar to you, that it does certainly bring attention to Hyperforce and just this level of Power Rangers in this type of media. And I hope it definitely brings attention to that. Who else we got in here? Tony Robinson certainly coming through. Thank you very much, man. Great to see you in here as always. Nado, thank you very much, Nado. I'm assuming I feel like you reach out to me on Twitter? Maybe that's you also. Nado, what about the non-kid show? As far as the non-kid show and stuff like that, I think all those announcements, well, not all those announcements. Again, I don't know if they're ready to make those announcements yet. I'm not expecting those on Power Month. I am expecting maybe some news during the Hasbro PulseCon 2021, which we have yet to be revealed as to when that's going to happen this year. I'm thinking more Jonathan Entwistle reimagined reboot stuff for Hasbro PulseCon, not so much Power Month. I feel like they might want to hold off on that, but that's just where my thinking is at. I could be absolutely wrong. Jared was a big fan of Hyperforce, saying it was amazing. So I know Day of Destiny might have Rangers in different colors. Yeah, I'll be interested to see if we have a new Ranger team, if they bring back some of the cast from Hyperforce, whether this is them getting a power upgrade, right? Similar to how we've seen when it comes to like MMPR, from MMPR over into like Zeo or Turbo, Zeo, Turbo, all that good stuff. I would love to see like those power upgrades. Like, give me those power upgrades for the same team. But even if it's not the same team, just based off of what Hyperforce was able to do with like cameos and things like that, I do hope that Day of Destiny at least will bring in some of them as cameos from time to time. I think that would be really great. We got Jordan in the house. Thank you very much, Jordan, for certainly coming through. Oh, Isaiah, for Power Month, he says, do you think Hasbro can make a Power Rangers Lightning Collection Yellow Dino Thunder Ranger to finish off the Dino Thunder team? Yes or no? Yeah, I definitely do think so. Whether or not it's going to be released on Power Month, that I'm not sure. I definitely would like to see it, especially if we got a whole month to celebrate. I feel like the last Fan First Friday, didn't they mention the idea of like, they were like, we know some fans are ready and eager to kind of finish off their collections and things like that, of trying to finish off certain teams and things like that. So maybe they are putting a little bit more emphasis on like, hey man, we only got like one or two more Rangers to kind of complete this set. I am kind of hoping that that's, so maybe we will get Yellow Dino Thunder to go ahead and at least complete some of these sets that they've kind of started. So we'll see. All right, guys. And of course, if you guys wind up ever having some other information, some other ideas you would like to see happen over at Power Month, feel free to go ahead and drop them in our comment section box below. Datilla in here saying, can we trade weather, Adam? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Texas is nice though. If I ever do move to Texas, I move into East Texas. I don't really know what happens around there in East Texas. If anything, I would almost recommend the DFW Metroplex area. But if you're not, if you don't like that type of lifestyle sort of thing, maybe East Texas is maybe a little bit quieter and simpler. You know what I mean? But to each their own, wherever you decide to move, Datilla. All right, guys, with that out of the way, though, I think if anything, we probably will go ahead and move on to our next topic, which our next topic actually kind of jumps off a little bit from Power Month with one of the selections that we kind of talked about when it comes to Boom Studios, right? Some of the upcoming things from Boom Studios that I'm hoping to see from Power Month would either be a new regular Power Rangers series that they want to go ahead and tackle, whether that's in the Coinless universe or, moving on to maybe a next group of Rangers for them to highlight. If not a regular series, maybe some one-shots, some upcoming graphic novels to look forward to. But this past week, guys, we got teased at another potential team up that, while I certainly was hoping we would get, I'm hoping that this is confirmation that it will in fact happen. And that is in regards to Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, or was it? Yeah, I want to say it's back in 2019. We had a 5-part miniseries from Boom Studios teaming up with IDW to go ahead and give us this partnership. Now, we've seen TMNT and Power Rangers in the live action world before. We've now officially seen them in the comic book form before. And I got to say, guys, I had an absolute blast with this particular series. I believe it was written by Ryan Parrott, if I'm not mistaken. I believe the artist itself was Simone DeMio, which again, easily top 3 artists for me, if not top 2 artists when it comes to Power Rangers. Absolutely love the style, fit perfectly for both Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's the most colorful and beautiful splash pages I've ever seen. a great teamwork, great camaraderie between these two teammates. I mean, everything just hit on all cylinders, right? And then to be able to just see some of Simone's sort of design work for our Power Ranger Ninja Turtles and our Ninja Turtle Power Rangers, if you will, the combinations, like the thoughtfulness that went into some of the costume designs were just breathtaking alone, to say the least. And after watching this series, after watching this season, I should say, with the Power Rangers going to New York to meet up with the Ninja Turtles and seeing how well that chemistry, just that teamwork just went together. One of the things in this mini series that I always picked up on was the idea that the Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers have always wanted to do this team up again. They even mentioned, like, the Ninja Turtles talk about the idea of even coming out to Angel Grove sometime, if you will. So it definitely felt like at the end of this 5-part miniseries that they left it open for a second crossover at some point in time. The reason why I bring this up, guys, is because this past week, over on Twitter, they actually went ahead and might have teased us in regards to that happening. This is from the TMNT official Twitter page, okay? The TMNT official Twitter page. But when I bring this up, it says, will you put your best foot forward to help save our streets? It says, the showdown is coming. TMNT, Power Rangers, Boom Studios, IDW Publishing, join the fight, as it's got a picture of the Rangers holding the Morphers before they actually go ahead and transform into their version of Power Rangers, which looked incredible. If you guys have not had the opportunity to see it, let me see if I can pull up a photo for you guys to just see how sick these costumes actually look. This is that, yeah, ooh, oh yeah. Oh yeah. You guys are gonna love this. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. This is the actual one of the splash pages. If you have not had the opportunity, I gotta find it like within all these damn. Here we go. All these photos. Let's see if I can pull this up here. Ooh, look at those costumes, baby. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, the Pink Ranger is April O'Neil, and she was remarkable, okay? Absolutely remarkable. But you get the opportunity to see the Rangers or the Ninja Turtles morphing into their Rangers. Great costume designs. And again, there's even like Power Rangers dressed as Ninja Turtles also in a much more street ninjutsu sort of way. It's absolutely incredible. But the fact that the TMNT Twitter handle went ahead and even announced this, part of me is hoping that this isn't like, hey, we're re-releasing that crossover event. Please don't let it be that. Don't let it be that. We've had this team up already. I loved it. Please don't re-release it. If anything, give me more of it. So I feel like this is them maybe teasing us that an upcoming announcement for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. I mean, if you're adding hashtag Boom Studios and you're adding IDW Publishing, it's either a re-release of the original crossover that's about to happen, or they're teaming up once again for a brand new crossover event. And if it is for a part 2, I'm here for it, guys. They did a remarkable job, but I will say this: I'm not one to make demands. I'm not that type of entitled fan. Like, you got to do this or this thing sucks, right? If you don't bring these people back, if they don't cameo, I'm out of here. This series sucks. This season sucks. I'm not one of those. I try and be as open-minded as I possibly can. So when I say this, understand this is a rarity for me. But I loved the creative team that put this together. I'm going to need them all back, okay? I'm going to need Ryan. I'm going to need Simone, whoever the colorist was, to make everything pop. I'm going to need it back. If anything, maybe the colorist you can switch out, right? Because I feel like if you do switch out the colorist, maybe the colorist kind of helped that vibe, set that vibe and tone and atmosphere, if you will, for like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the city. You know what I mean? But maybe there's another colorist out there that might make things pop a little bit more or pop differently and make it feel different. If it is a case of the turtles maybe coming to Angel Grove or coming out the Power Rangers way to kind of make it visually look a little bit different. You know what I mean? I'm up for either or. Either switch the colorist but keep the writer and artist, or keep that whole creative team together and certainly bring them back. So I want to know what you guys think. You see this again, TMNT's official Twitter page. Will you put your best foot forward to help save our streets? The showdown is coming soon, is what they say. And then we get these two, we get this promotional photo from them. So we'll see, guys. We'll see. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it will, in fact, be a part 2. Because they did so incredibly well. And I'm not really a big fan of like crossover events, you know, when it comes to superheroes and things like that. I believe there might have been a Power Rangers and Justice League comic book that I didn't read or I didn't pick up for myself. So I don't know how that certainly went. But this was one that I was tickled enough to be interested in, like, you know what? I'll check it out. I think even the preview pages and seeing the art style and knowing that Simone and Ryan were going to be taking control of this or doing it, a part of me definitely was fascinated by it enough to definitely check it out. And I'm so glad that I did. If anything, you know what? I haven't read a recent TMNT comic book. I know that there's a current series out, like Ronin, if I'm not mistaken, for Ninja Turtle fans out there. I believe it's like by Kevin Eastman, like the actual creators of Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. It's definitely more traditional and gritty. Like I think it's just like a black and white series that they currently have, limited series for Ronin, or maybe it's the Rangers, or maybe it's like the Ninja Turtles in like even all red, like just classic TMNT Ninja Turtle comic books. I would even also be up for the idea of them going that stylistic route for a team up, right? Like Power Rangers TMNT, a combo, one side feeling more Power Ranger-esque, right? And the other one feeling more TMNT-esque. I would be up for that as well, come to think of it. But regardless, I need a part 2 because I thought the writing was handled absolutely beautifully. Really love seeing the personalities clashing or mixing extremely well. It just really went a long way and was quite enjoyable. So if you guys haven't had the opportunity to check out the 5-part miniseries for Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, do yourselves a favor. Definitely go ahead and check it out. If you can't find it over at your local comic book store, you can't order it or anything like that, check it out on Comixology.com. Again, Comixology.com. It's not just a website, it's also an app you can put on your phone. Really, it's really for digital comic books, so you can read them either on your phone, on your laptop, on your tablet, whatever the case may be. In case you can't find them at your local comic book store. But guys, listen, I want to know your thoughts. Do you want a part 2 for Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in comic book form? How would you certainly like to see it? Would you like to see it handled differently? Do you think this is a part 2? Do you think this is just a re-release of what we've already gotten? Or do you think it's something completely different? Go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see here. What are you guys saying in regards to this? Adam says, I'm getting tired of MMPR in the comics. Move on to other seasons. Yeah, that's another reason why I'm hoping that when it comes to Power Month, they do at least announce another season, just so they have another team that they can certainly tackle. But I got to tell you, I get the idea that some people are tired of MMPR and comic books. I'm not tired of them teaming up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this is one crossover I definitely would like to see. Does the Turtle crossover take place in the Boom universe? I read it and I couldn't really tell. That I couldn't tell either. Yeah, I don't know if it's I'm assuming they're both in the, well, I guess they can't necessarily be in the same universe per se. I mean, IDW does publish it as a completely different publishing company for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I mean, it didn't seem like I can't recall them having to do any weird time traveling or anything like that. It was really the case of them trying to find where Tommy went, because Tommy went to New York to try and talk one of his friends out of joining the Foot Clan or something like that. Like, Homeboy's parents were like scared and worried about where this guy went, so Tommy went to kind of go investigate. So I would assume that they're all sharing the same universe, since I didn't see anybody jump through any portals that I can remember. DHR2 says they should make a fighting game based on that crossover comic. Listen, considering the fact that it literally says the showdown is coming soon, I mean, I would be completely on board with that, right? We had well, I was gonna say we had X-Men versus Capcom, but then when you look at just the roster alone, massive. But listen, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is no slouch either. I mean, they've got a huge mass, now that I think about it, roster gallery, right? Even if it's some villains, I mean, you got Casey Jones you can have in there available as a fighter. What was the robot Michelangelo? What is it? Metalhead? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a minute since I watched Ninja Turtles cartoons. I mean, heck, Shredder could be a playable person. You can have Krang inside of his bodysuit. Yeah, give me. Listen, that would be great if this announcement isn't even talking about comics, but getting us ready for an upcoming fighting game when they talk about a showdown. I love that idea, DHR. Give it to me. Zachary clarifying, yes, began in late 2019. Yeah, I thought I read it somewhere that it was like December, if I'm not mistaken. Ryan and then Simone wind up doing the art. So yeah, guys, it's available out there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even like available as like a collection already. So definitely see if you can find it, because I will tell you it's definitely worth the money for sure. Marcelino wasn't that impressed with the costumes. Hey, to each their own. To each their own, Marcelino. Maybe they'll make some upgrades next time around that they do it. Who else we got? Oh, Johnny Marrero's in the house. What's up, Johnny? Appreciate you coming through. He also says a crossover sequel comic, please, or a TV series, please. Huge must. I love it. I love the ideas here, man. Love the ideas. Yeah, I would even take a live action or TV series. I would definitely take that. Maybe even like just a little mini animation. I would take that also. All right. All right, guys. Well, if you have any other thoughts in regards to this particular future team up, once again, I'm hoping for a part 2 here. If you guys have any suggestions as to what this could be, definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And our next topic in regards to Power Rangers in general, we have been talking a little bit about Boom Studios already, possibly seeing what they can provide for us when it comes to Power Month, along with when it comes to future TMNT and Power Ranger crossovers. But one comic book for sure that's going to be dropping in August to definitely celebrate Power Month in a certain way. That's coming out swinging with a huge storyline is in fact going to be Mighty Morphin issue number 10. I believe we highlighted this maybe like a month or so ago. I found it odd that we were highlighting it super early, even though it's set to go ahead and drop this August. But the reality of it is that this is a huge Zordon centric episode, or issue, I should say. This is a storyline that Ryan Parrott has definitely been building up since this unlimited power era has certainly begun. We've seen not only Eltarians pop up on Earth in Mighty Morphin, we've also gotten glimpses of Zordon's past, if you will, from like millions of years ago. We've even seen him interact with some current Eltarians these days. And it's a culmination is coming, guys. A momentous buildup for a storyline for Zordon in here is coming, and I'm pumped for it. It is one of those things where we've continued to see the rivalry between Lord Zed and Zordon really stiffen. I feel like over the past couple of months when it comes to the comic books, getting quite personal, if you ask me. And I do feel like this is going to be a culmination of that particular story, or if not a culmination, at least a big insight into it, because they've been talking about the idea of Zordon, a big secret that Zordon has kind of held from everybody, kind of coming to light in this particular issue. So we wind up actually officially having some preview pages for you guys today, along with a synopsis as well. I believe last time we might have just had the synopsis. They didn't give us preview pages. But this week, guys, we have our first look and preview pages, as it looks as though Dan Mora is in fact coming back, at least for this particular issue, to go ahead and do the artwork for it. So listen, anytime you get Dan Mora to come back when you already have a stellar artist that's taking place of Mighty Morphin, you know it's impactful. You immediately know it's impactful. So let me go ahead and read just some of the synopsis. And this is an exclusive first look. And this has been posted online from rangercommand.com. It says, a new evil arises from Zordon's past in Mighty Morphin issue number 10. Discover an explosive secret that changes the Power Rangers forever in August 2021. It does say coming from writer Ryan Parrott and artist Dan Mora. And then, of course, you got a bunch of colors that are going to be in here as well. But it says, discover Zordon's ties to Pandora's palace on the moon, the modern home of Rita Repulsa. When an assassin is sent to disrupt the Eltarians' effort to protect an ancient weapon, which I'm assuming is the Zeo crystals, Zordon is injured in the process, and his mentor, Zofram, must make a decision that will alter the future of Power Rangers as we know it. So one thing I'm assuming is this the process when Zordon becomes a giant floating head. I am curious if that's the route that we're certainly going down these days, but we'll definitely see. I love the synopsis already. The fact that we clearly see him connected to Pandora's palace. We've already seen the Zeo crystal inside of that palace, that I'm assuming that's what the Eltarians are certainly trying to protect. And the fact that there's an assassin, when I look at this assassin, I get Lord Zed vibes. Like, I'm wondering if this is Lord Zed before he became who he certainly is. So I'm kind of curious if this potential clash, again, if this assassin is Lord Zed, I am wondering if this sort of initial clash, maybe that's how Zordon is injured. Maybe this assassin injures Zordon, and he's forced to kind of live the way that we kind of see him as of right now. Or who knows, maybe Zordon gets in some damage himself to make this assassin now look the way that sort of Lord Zed certainly looks, right? I feel like there's definitely a lot of ramifications. The fact alone that in the comics, like, Lord Zed has even asked the Power Rangers to hand over Lord Zed peacefully, right? Kind of making them feel like they have been thrusted into a war, a situation that they shouldn't have been in the first place, right? Lord Zed putting a lot of blame on Zordon for that. Even, saying Earth should probably blame Zordon for all the destruction that's kind of come its way because of some of his own particular actions. So, Zed is out here really trying to make a case. Hand him over to me. If you will. And I'm wondering if that has a lot to do with the past that these two characters have certainly found themselves into. And I'm kind of hoping that this is maybe a very early Lord Zed that we see in a showdown with a much younger Zordon, and continuing to learn how their pasts are in fact connected and how it fits into more present day storytelling that we've been seeing so far, which has been doing remarkable job by Ryan Parrott. This has definitely been one of the storylines that's probably intrigued me a little bit more than even the Imperial stuff that we've been getting. But again, this is also coming from a guy. I literally have not read the last two issues of like Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin, and even the Power Rangers Unlimited stuff. Like my comic book stack, guys, is just continuing to grow on a daily. So this is going to be my week, guys, where I plunge my head back into the books and get more current and updated here because I need this. I need this issue in my life. Power Rangers issue 10. If it's going to be as explosive as Ryan Parrott and Boom Studios have been promoting for like the past month and a half or so, even before August is here, I'm here for it. And listen to this, guys. Do we have a release date? Please give me a release date. Oh, here we go. Available August 11th. We still got a whole month to go. We still got literally just under an entire month to go before Mighty Morphin issue number 10 drops. So I guess maybe like 3 weeks away, if you will. So yeah, they're promoting the hell out of this comic book for very good reason. It clearly is going to be massive. So definitely an issue to certainly pick up, guys. But you hear the synopsis. What are you thinking? Some of Zordon's big secret that we're going to discover here. Is this that brings us to us understanding and knowing Zordon the way that we personally do now? I would definitely love to know your guys' thoughts. And I'm so glad that Ryan is tackling Zordon and putting more shine on him and his people and just continuing to build that lore for the character. I think he's doing some amazing work there, honestly, guys. So yeah, I definitely would love to know your guys' thoughts. You hear the synopsis. How are you enjoying the comic book so far? Are you even reading the comic books or are you not? And is this something that you're really interested in certainly picking up? I definitely would love to know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's any other. Marcelino, he says, Boom Studios constantly promoting MMPR and ignoring the later seasons feels similar to how Game Freak constantly promotes the first generation of Pokemon and ignores the ones from later gens. I gotta say, I don't necessarily agree with that 100%. I mean, I get the idea of maybe feeling like later seasons are ignored, but maybe it's just such a long time ago, that we had Shattered Grid, which literally showcased a bajillion Power Rangers from all across the multiverse, if you will. We also got the Solar Rangers from the Beyond the Grid storyline. They introduced us to literally a whole entire brand new series or a team up of Power Rangers. If anything, I feel like we're getting there. If anything, I feel like storytelling purposes are leading us in that direction. So I am sure that we eventually will get other MMPR focused teams at some particular point in time. It is just a buildup to that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Alien Rangers pop up sometime if they haven't already. Have they done so? I feel like they might have actually already popped up in the comic books early on. So I do see a world in which Boom Studios eventually will promote other teams as well. But I get the idea of why they promote MMPR as much as they certainly do. But I think they're working on it. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, we will transition over to a little bit of tokusatsu. Not too much. I think we only have like 2 topics in regards to tokusatsu to go ahead and highlight today. One that'll actually probably go by pretty quick. Datilla does go on to say, it's because MMPR is the most nostalgic, and a lot of people grew up on MMPR. When Power Rangers is referenced in pop culture, it's always MMPR, and I definitely agree with you, Datilla. I know that notion and that concept turns a lot of people off, but I think that screams to the popularity of Power Rangers, how much it's actually engraved in our pop culture these days. And I think it's a case also of wanting to a attack a property in MMPR that that people know, that people are aware of. It's probably easy for casual fans to kind of pick up and get on board with. Um, and it is one of those things where, while some people, yes, you can be tired of MMPR. Again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be tired of MMPR. If you feel tired, I get it. I understand, right? I understand. But then you also have to look at the other side of things. It's successful, right? MMPR is still successful. Whether people want to accept that or not, it's probably still on Netflix, not only because, yes, it's the origin one, but it's probably the most watched Power Rangers season up on Netflix at the time. MMPR comic books still, I'm sure, when it comes to Boom Studios, continue to sell and be a hot seller. And that's MMPR pushing that way, right? So I get it. I get the idea of people being tired of it, but it is a nostalgic factor. It is something that's easy for casuals to be able to get on board with and pick up. And I just think for Boom Studios, it probably means more money. More money. Not to say that they can't explore things, but that's what we got Sins of the Future for. That's what we get Power Rangers Unlimited for, to highlight Astronomer, to highlight Phantom Ranger, to for Boom Studios to recognize that, yes, there are people that want to see other things besides MMPR. And I feel like they're giving it to us. It may not necessarily be in series form the way that people want, but they are certainly, I feel like, doing their best, or at least listening enough to be able to give us these little things here and there, little tidbits of other future, past teams outside of MMPR. So I feel like they are doing that to a certain extent. Azriel, what's up, Azriel? Appreciate you coming through. Adam, which team do you like better, the Mighty Morphin Rangers or the Omega Rangers? Right. Right now, probably the Mighty Morphin team. I do like the concept and the idea of the Omega Rangers. The suits look incredible. I like how this team has kind of come together. If anything, probably as far as teams go, Mighty Morphin. Comic books go, probably still Mighty Morphin a little bit. But I will say this, I do love what Ryan Parrott is doing with both Jason and Trini. Not to say that Trini didn't have an edge, right? But if anything, like, not to say that Trini didn't have an edge before she became an Omega Ranger, but I do feel like they are giving her even more of an edge as an Omega Ranger. I think her time with Draken has really made Trini even that much more enjoyable to me. Just because of her mindset and her ideology towards Draken and how she holds herself as a Power Ranger. Like, I feel like Draken is really challenging her, for her to become a little bit more firm in her mindset and things like that, even though he continues to try and push. And I think Draken does push her because he knows that Trini is mentally strong enough to be able to deal with him, and I really dig that about what Ryan is doing with Trini. And with Jason, it's just making me that much more interested in him, because he's not just this goody two-shoe. Not that I ever felt that Jason was, but the fact that he is pushing himself and kind of challenging that sort of gray line between being a good guy and a bad guy. Like, Draken is maybe rubbing off on him in maybe some of the wrong ways, or maybe some of the good ways, depending on how you kind of look at it, right? The fact that when the SPD's looking for you, right? Like, you're on most wanted posters, Zordon's got an APB out for your heads type of thing. And the decision makings that he's making, it does make me question. I don't want to say question him as a leader or anything like that, but it does put into question some of the decisions that he's making, and if those decisions are warranted. So I really love what he's actually really done with making a much more of a gray area, if you will. But yeah, no, I do. I definitely agree with you, Sarav. He says I think Draken is rubbing off on everybody, even if it's just a little bit. I definitely agree with you. I'm just saying, for me, I think when it comes to me, I see it a little bit more in Trini and Jason, but I do enjoy that aspect for sure. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic today. And that will come in the realm of Ultraman, guys. Ultraman, we just recently got a brand new series that wind up debuting last Friday. Well, not this last Friday, but the previous last Friday, if you will. Was that the 10th, if I'm not mistaken? Ultraman Trigger debuted, and within like its first 3 days or so was like up to 1 million views. By the time I got the opportunity to watch episode 2 as of yesterday, episode 1 was already up to 1.5 million views. Talk about a hell of an impressive run so far for your first episode. Let me see where episode 2 of Ultraman Trigger certainly is. If anything, I'll probably will have my episode 2 review up later this evening for you guys. Probably, I'm hoping I can get it up before 8 p.m. tonight, but it will be up tonight for you guys. So definitely look forward to our episode 2 reveal. But guys, 17 hours into episode 2 being posted, over 500,000 views already. So I'm definitely expecting another 1 million views for Ultraman this week. And I got to tell you, Ultraman Trigger episode 2 is even better than the first one. But the reason why I bring up Ultraman Trigger is because of the fact that Ultraman really is trying to I don't want to say cross over here into the States, but I feel like at least doing its best to continue to be more accessible in some way or another. But this week, to kind of showcase that, we've got some Ultraman DVDs that are currently headed our way. We got 3 different sets of DVDs from Ultraman that they're going to be tackling. I believe Ultraman also shows up on Tokushoutsu, if I'm not mistaken, on Tubi TV and Pluto TV. I think they might have some past series that are up there. I could be wrong. Maybe they're up on YouTube for you to check out. Also, definitely go ahead and check it out when you can. But I did want to go ahead and highlight this because I thought this was interesting. Ultraman DVD sets are coming our way. Let's go ahead and dive into this article. This one comes to us from Tokusatsu Network, from the Tokusatsu Network, saying that they're going to receive the 3 Ultraman series are going to receive a North American DVD release. We got Ultraman Tiga, Ultraman Dyna, and Ultraman Gaia, I believe. So yeah, it says later this year, Milk Creek Entertainment will begin releasing boxed DVD sets of these 3 series. It says the box set for Tiga will be released October 5th, Dyna will be released November 2nd, and Gaia will be released December 7th. Oh wow, right back to back, last 3 months of the year. Love it. For $34.99. So it's about $35 in US for you guys. Each box set will include the full series and their accompanying specials. That's pretty cool. Also, the DVDs will have Japanese audio with English subtitles. The only way I do it, man. The only way I do it. Mill Creek recently sells the complete series of other Ultraman titles like Ultraman Geed, Ultraman RB, like R&B, and Ultra 7, as well as standalone movies in the franchise. They stated that they are able to release these sets in North America due to a distribution deal between themselves, Indigo Entertainment, and Subaraya Productions. Tiga was released back in 1996 and started a revival of the franchise in Japan, with a new series being released almost every year after a 15-year hiatus following Ultraman 80. And then Dyna and Gaia also premiered after Tiga did. It says Mill Creek announced a release date after the debut of Ultraman Trigger, a spiritual successor to Tiga. Trigger follows the life of Kengo Manaka, a botanist who lives on Mars attempting to cultivate life on the Red Planet until he's linked to the powers of Trigger in order to fight evil. So, I will say this. A part of me was talking about the idea that, you know what, since I have invested my time in Ultraman Trigger, A part of me has been wanting to go back and check out Ultraman Tiga itself. I think this is my opportunity, guys. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and purchase this. October 5th, it's going to be released. I'm wondering, is there a site? They have a site that I can go to. I don't have, there's no site on this page. Mill Creek Entertainment announced this. So a part of me is, oh, these are some really nice box sets too. I love it. Is there a, oh, that's the Tigo one right there, which I can clearly tell because it definitely has remnants and resemblances of the current Trigger costume. I'm not seeing a website though to purchase it, or at least maybe pre-order. Who knows? Maybe it's not on pre-order. It's a 6-disc DVD collection. So for $35, maybe I'll do it. Oh no! See, it says 1080 HD masters are not currently available for Subaraya production, so these titles will first be released on DVD. Damn it! For those of you who don't know, you know, I'm not a perfect human being. I do have my bougie moments, guys. And when it comes to movies, television shows, I need high quality, man. I need that 1080. You know, if this comes through as 720, I'll accept it. I'll deal with it. If it's 720, you know, DVD format, maybe I'll check it out. A part of me now is kind of wanting to wait for like a Blu-ray release to where it is in 1080. I'm bougie like that, guys. I'm sorry. I like my content to be high quality. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Regardless, Ultraman Tiga is coming home with me. Whether or not that be in this DVD box set, or I wait for a Blu-ray or watch it at some point in time, it's happening, guys. It's happening. But listen, guys, I want to know your thoughts. Are you interested in any of these particular collection sets from Ultraman? Is there any one of these that maybe you've heard about, people have recommended to you that you want to go ahead and tackle? Definitely go ahead and certainly let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. One of the things that I will say, though, in regards to Ultraman, some of the comments that I got on my Ultraman Trigger #1, first and foremost, I appreciate everybody being so kind to me when it comes to Ultraman. You know, I put a disclaimer in the beginning of my video and I said, this is my first time tackling Ultraman. So I'm not familiar with the chronology, the timeline, and all that good stuff, right? So go easy on me. Go gentle. And everybody really did. I mean, they really came through with a ton of information for me to understand the Ultraman world a little bit better, that it you know, timelines and stuff, canonical, you know, multiverse and all that stuff. They did a really great job of at least trying to keep me informed as to what Ultraman is certainly like, and really making me understand that it's really unlike any other sort of tokusatsu that's out there, aside from like Kamen Rider. Same thing with Super Sentai. It really is sort of its own unique thing. And this established itself an amazing sort of world that right now, as a newcomer to a franchise that's like 55 years in the making, it's intimidating. It's intimidating to say the least. So I am taking my baby steps when it comes to Ultraman Trigger. And I do hope that these DVDs, especially if you're brand new to the series like myself, certainly helps fill in those gaps, or helps tell some great stories to better understand just the mythos in the franchise that is Ultraman. But yeah, guys, let me know if any of these particular titles fascinate you at any point. Let's see here. Blossom says, it's okay, Adam. I'm kind of bougie myself. Yeah, just in certain things, you know, just when it comes to certain things. And it's usually my movies and television. Jerry, what's up, Jerry? I appreciate you. He says, fun fact, Ultraman Tiga had 4 kids English dub version. Oh, interesting. I didn't know they had that. He also says, There are also no actual HD masters of these three Ultraman shows. The Japanese Blu-ray release is just the SD footage upscaled, which isn't worth it in my opinion, meaning that it's still the same SD footage, just stretched to a bigger resolution with a noise removal amplifier. It's not real HD though. I definitely get what you're saying, Jerry. Interesting. Okay. That's a little bit of a bummer. I will say this, I am kind of curious if like now going forward with like Ultraman Z, if they've decided to go ahead and have more HD masters now. But that's interesting. Okay, well, now at least knowing that if I just can't get it, then I'll probably watch it in an upscale SD. Like because I don't want to be waiting around like another year or 2 years to be able to get an HD quality type of stuff, But the idea of like upscaling it, if you can, I definitely get what you're saying there, Jerry. I feel like they've definitely done that from some past series in general, not just Ultraman, but I've definitely seen it done before. So I would be okay with that too. I would be okay with that. Excuse me, guys. Let's see here. What else we got? Kamen Rider. What's up, Kamen Rider 64 in the house? Thank you very much for certainly joining us. Enrique says, is there going to be another first look at the Saber and Zenkaiger superhero Senkai movie during the broadcast of the TV crossover special tomorrow or tonight? Maybe a tease. I can see them maybe a tease, if not a brand new tease, maybe just a similar trailer that we've already seen before, just highlighted towards the end of the show. But yeah, we are getting the TV crossover special that's going to be happening this weekend. Should make for a relatively interesting episode of Zenkaiger to certainly go ahead and review this week for sure. So we'll definitely see what happens. Why do I feel like episodes leading into something special when it comes to Zenkaiger are just like crappy? Like I say that because like Trash World episode 6, in my opinion, was trash. I hated. I was not a fan of that episode at all. But then it wound up leading into two great movies, if you will. Zenkaiger the movie, Red Battle, which we just reviewed up on our YouTube page. And then it wind up leading to the Great Red introduction, where we got Zenkai Red, which I thought was another great movie. And then, of course, right after that, in episode 7 of Zenkai, we wind up getting like Stacy debuted, Stay Caesar, 2 Kaiser right after that. And so this past week, I was not a fan of of the newest episode of Zenkaiger that we had. It was definitely felt more filler to me than anything else. Nothing eventful really happened. So it felt like a bust to me. And then all of a sudden now, this upcoming week, we got the TV crossover special I'm really excited for. And then we've got the Super Senkai movie that we're going to be getting also, which I'm expecting to be 2 back-to-back bangers, which again continues to fill in that trope now, it feels like, of Zenkaiger, of crappy episode, 2 great specials afterwards, with Trash World and this last one, and afterwards it seems as though we're getting 2 great stuff, 2 great things. We'll see how good that they turn out to be, Enrique. I'm looking forward to them both, but maybe we definitely will get maybe a little bit of a teaser to look forward to. Who certainly knows? And I will say this too, guys. It's funny to me that the 2 episodes of Zenkaiger that I completely crap on get like the most dislikes. It just continues to make me laugh that my opinion butt hurts people that much, to where they decide we got to all of a sudden hit the down button, dislike button for this guy. Like the fact that they can't just take my opinion and roll with it. They don't have to agree with my opinion. You don't have to like my opinion for sure. But the idea of disliking my videos, like, man, that certainly hurts. Like I've got 7 likes to 3 dislikes. And I've never gotten that many dislikes on one video, except for my other Zenkaiger episode 6 that I absolutely trashed a couple of weeks ago. It just feels like people expect me to just suck the dick of Zenkaiger for every episode and just swear up and down and it's like the greatest thing that I've ever seen. I'm just not a follower, guys. I just tell it like it is. You don't have to necessarily agree with me, but just don't get hurt by it, in my opinion. And I feel like people tend to get a little bit too hurt when it comes to not having an opinion. Certainly agrees with them. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm just a shitty reviewer. If that was the case, I would think I would see more dislikes on a lot more of my reviews. But it just feels odd that most of my dislikes on a video tend to come when I don't agree with a Zenkaiger episode being that great. So you know what? I'm going to continue to be honest regardless. But I just find it interesting and something I definitely wanted to go ahead and call out. Because again, Zenkaiger episode 6, 3 dislikes. Probably the same 3 people I've butthurt in regards to not liking an episode. So hopefully, people will definitely understand that, listen, you could dislike the video. That's fine. Just don't take the shit that I say personally, guys. Just don't take it personal. Okay. You can like the episode all you want to. If it hits you in a fantastic way, more power to you. More power to you. I hope that you love these episodes. I truly do. But don't be mad when I don't. This makes me laugh. All right, guys. Let's see here. Look at this. I'm just gonna call you Illmatic. What's up, Illmatic? Thank you for coming through, Ill. He says, if you do watch Ultraman Tiga, are you going to review it? Maybe. We'll see. I'm not expecting like Ultraman Tiga reviews next week or like in a month or so. It might be a little bit ways down, but when I do, 2 things will either happen. I'll either watch it and review it as a whole. You know what? I may, because we're doing Ultraman Trigger, I also continue to try and boost our Patreon to a certain extent. Maybe certain past series, since I'm doing Ultraman Trigger for the channel, maybe Tigo will be something that I do for like a $1 or $5 Patreon. And then once I'm done with the season, maybe do a season review that I'll drop on the channel. Maybe I'll do something along those lines. But we'll see. I wasn't thinking about it before you mentioned that, Illmatic, but I probably will this time. I probably will. AJ does say, when it comes to Ultraman, I really enjoyed Ultraman Trigger. I may not watch the entire series, but I'm glad the first episode was fire. If anything, watch the second episode, my guy. I just watched that episode this morning before I went live. Watch the second episode if you get the chance to also. All right, guys, let's go ahead and transition over to our last topic for the day, which kind of comes full circle to a question that you just asked in regards to Super Sentai, or I should say superhero Senkai, as that's going to be here rather soon, guys. July 22nd is the big debut of this particular show. And Tokusatsu Network wind up highlighting an interview from the producer of Superhero Senkai that talked about the differences between Kamen Rider and Super Sentai over the year. Now, Tokusatsu Network actually wind up picking this up from another website called Mantan.web. I think it's a Japanese site that I definitely had to go ahead and have translated into English. But I just love the mindset that this producer puts forward in regards to the differences between Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. So let's go ahead and read a little bit about it and see what his perspective is. And I would be fascinated to see what your guys' response is and just some of your guys' thoughts in regards to it in general. So let me go ahead and pull this up. So here we go. Super Senkai differences between Kamen Rider and Super Sentai history of twists and turns. So it looks like they spoke with producer Shinichiro Shirakura of Toei, who works on Saber and Zenkaiger's Superhero Senkai. It talks about the idea of this being a double anniversary work on Kamen Rider series, which celebrates its 50th, while Zenkaiger celebrates its 45th. The two series, which have been loved for about half a century, look similar and different. It seems to be completely different, and there are some similarities. In addition, both series were not smooth sailing, but overcame many difficulties and became a longevity series. So they had the opportunity to ask them who supported about the history and the differences between the two. And so it says the history has been full of twists and turns and continues to the present day. This is what he says. He says Kamen Rider had an era of discontinuity, and Super Sentai had many crises of the light, if you will. He says there is a history also called Power Rangers. Each time the production team at that time accumulated ingenuity to regain popularity. Both series are not compromised to continue. It will end when it becomes less popular. The production team is constantly trying to create new things during this tension, if you will. So I do love this concept, though, this idea that both series are not promised to continue. Right? There are people out there that talk about Super Sentai all the time. Is it going to get canceled? When is it going to end? You know, despite the fact that, yes, these shows have been around for 45 plus seasons, there is always that worry that at some point in time it will end, at least when it becomes less popular. But that's what the tension is, right? That tension is how popular is it, if you will, right? The idea of trying to create new things during this tension of, are we going to get canceled or are we not going to get canceled, right? How can we continue to make this popular? He says in the case of Kamen Rider, it turned to the origin many times, every time. Super Sentai came into a crisis. What was the basis of the series? Is it a change of the times? Is the work losing power? I've been hitting it periodically. I don't scratch it. I've always had a sense of crisis that the series will end if I scratch it, which I love that mentality. He says, I've been hitting it periodically. I don't scratch it. I've always had that sense of crisis that the series will end if I scratch it, almost in the sense of it will end if we don't continue to kind of put our best foot forward, right? Keep punching it instead of scratching it. It has a completely different impact. It says, on the other hand, the periodic crisis is a crisis, that the fact that it keeps happening. It says the feeling was not maintained. Returning to the origin and rehashing are two sides of the same coin. I think it has become tougher through the twists and turns. Because of its universality, though, it continues to be loved even when the times change. It says Kamen Rider returns to number 1 and number 2, thinking about what kind of team it says, Kamen Rider returns to number 1 and number 2, thinking about what kind of team Super Sentai is and thinking about the importance of team ties. What is it? It may change with the times. If it becomes unacceptable, it means it's not suitable for the times. But since it continues so much, it should be universal. And I kind of like that mindset also, the idea that the importance of both series tends to be the team ties, right? The idea of sort of finding support within your team, having other people on your team be quite reliable, right? That concept and that commonality of teams is really what kind of holds it together and keeps pushing it forward. Like the team concept is something that people accept and continue to enjoy over the years. And so he says, once that idea of like teamwork and working as a team sort of becomes unacceptable, then maybe that means that the times have changed, right? So, but since it continues to be acceptable, since teamwork seems to be still acceptable and still drives people, that's what continues to make it universal and maybe continues to make it popular after so many years because of the running themes through each of these series. Both series have something in common in special effects heroes, but there are differences, as mentioned above. What's the difference? There is a promise in Super Sentai, and there is also a place to pursue the fun of stylistic beauty. Kamen Rider also transforms with a belt. There are some styles such as rider kick, enemy compositions, etc. I make a style for each work. Super Sentai is based on a style. As Super Sentai, even there is a theme and taste for each work. He also says that the differences between the two series is mysteriously different. There are some parts that cannot be verbalized. When I was doing Kamen Rider, I sometimes says, isn't this something like Super Sentai? It's difficult to verbalize sometimes. It's not the counter of Super Sentai, which is the main pillar of Toei that has continued until then, but it started as a sub to the mainstream Super Sentai. The situation on the Kamen Rider side is Super Sentai. If there was an animal Super Sentai, it would be difficult. If there was a shark in Super Sentai, I couldn't put out a shark monster in Kamen Rider. On the other hand, Saber has a Super Sentai team called Sword of Logos, and Zenkaiger has one human being, and there are other machines, but each one faces the team individually as both series runs in parallel. I'm very much aware of each of these particular themes. So yeah, it says Saber plus Zenkaiger can be expected to have a chemical reaction between Saber and Zenkaiger once we get into Zenkai. So I kind of dig it. I wish he would kind of clarify his words a little bit more. I do think that there's maybe something kind of lost in translation a little bit, especially, again, this is a Japanese website, and when you are translated into English, sometimes it may not necessarily come out very fluidly, if you will. But I definitely dig the differences that he's talking about. But I am glad and thrilled that he at least brings out the awareness that, yes, these seasons can end at any particular point in time, that we're not necessarily taking that very lightly, you know, knowing that there is this tension of whether or not this show continues is really what pushes us to continue to be as creative as we possibly can be, right? Not scratching the problem, but punching it, really trying to solve it, and putting our best step forward so it doesn't kind of regress, if you will. So I really like that. I really like that mentality. And really understanding that, yes, they are continuing to put their best foot forward, even if there necessarily are some series of Super Sentai or Kamen Rider that may not necessarily connect, right? That there are just some universal themes that continue to push these series forwards, right? And I think, you know, when you look at something like Power Rangers 28 years later, and you look at what Super Sentai and Kamen Rider and even Ultraman have built for themselves, 45 years, 50 years, 55 years, you know, each of those shows clearly have universal themes that continue to hold itself together over these years. I think one of the examples he uses is the concept of teamwork, right? Everybody having to work together in order to kind of succeed or see your dreams kind of fulfilled. It's still a mentality that to this day that we as human beings can easily relate to, right? So it is a universal theme that continues to work after all these years. And even just thinking about something current like an Ultraman trigger, while yes, you do have this one person who embodies all this power, when you look around, especially in the Ultraman Trigger series, it's got a team behind it in Gut Select, in this, you know, the new hero in Kenjo, working for Gut Select and having to really rely on everybody else. Also, even though he's the muscle and the main character and the main Ultraman, there is still that team element that really kind of works. So, you know, there is definitely a secret behind what makes Super Sentai and Kamen Rider working after 45, 50 years. I can understand the idea of it maybe being a little bit difficult to verbalize, like what is so special, you know what I mean, that makes it continue after all these years. And while it is sometimes hard to verbalize clearly from Shinichiro Shirakura, I think he does at least highlight some really great attributes about all these series that at least understands maybe why it's still universally accepted after all these years. So I continue to love. I thought this was a really, really great article. Kamen Rider says that picture looks fantastic. Yeah, I definitely agree. I absolutely love getting an opportunity to see the producer with both of these characters. He also says the future for Kamen Rider franchise is looking great. I can tell. Yeah, I can tell too. I mean, just based off of some of the things that they have in store for us. I mean, we even highlighted this past weekend or this past Monday how much Kamen Rider is really, like, what Kamen Rider is really trying to do, at least to have have it more recognizable out here in the States, you know, bringing more, hopefully maybe doing more future simulcasts, right? Like they mentioned Kamen Rider Black that we talked about last week, that they were going to be pushing forward a little bit more adult themed. We're going to be having the animated Kamen Rider series that's going to be simulcast not only in Japan but also on Funimation. We also have Shin Kamen Rider the movie that they're going to be doing. That's another series that's kind of pushed towards more an adult themed or adult seriousness, if you will, more mature storytelling. So yeah, Kamen Rider definitely is putting his best foot forward, and the franchise definitely has a bright future, certainly ahead of it. But hopefully we'll be able to get to see that shine in TV and movie form with the special TV episode crossover that we're going to be getting this weekend, along with the movie itself dropping July 22nd, guys. So get excited for the upcoming franchise of Tokusatsu coming your way from Toei. They got some big things certainly planned for us, to say the least, and hopefully another 50 years to continue to go strong, despite maybe the ups and downs that both franchises have certainly had to. I mean, it's hard to not have the ups and downs being around after 45, 50 plus years. You know what I mean? It's always going to come, but the idea is, how do you answer it and push back to regain that popularity? And I definitely do think that they've certainly have done that when it comes to Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. But guys, listen, I want to know your thoughts. What did you think about the producer's words in regards to what makes Kamen Rider and Super Sentai so special and be able to survive after such a long period of time? Maybe you guys have some of your own ideas also, as well, as to how they survived so long. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. All right. And with that, we are going to get into your live viewer questions as we get ready to go ahead and wrap up this episode here. So let me go ahead and pull up our email account. Again, you can submit these questions over at any time during the week if you'd like to. aplusmorphinominal@gmail.com. We'll see what we can get into today. Doomsday's got a question. Do you love Captain Marvelous's ignorance to Navi's dislike of being called Bird? Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like there's I feel like there are like even some friends that I have that like hate being called certain nicknames, or like certain nicknames that they just can't shake, don't matter how old they get or how long that you're friends with, that, you know, just kind of gets under their skin a little bit, just a little playful jab here and there. And that's kind of how I felt like when it comes to Captain Marvelous and Navi, still calling him Bird every time he tries to correct them, like, stop calling me Bird. But I kind of dig it, at least coming from Captain Marvelous. I don't know if is that like a derogatory term for Navi. If it's derogatory, then maybe maybe I feel a certain type of way. But it's I think it's just a nice little jab. But I do love it. I do love it. Which two Gokaijers are you most looking forward to seeing in the upcoming 10 Gokaiger movie? For me, it's the beautiful Luca and the badass Captain Marvelous with his badass eye patch. Yeah, I would agree with you there. For me, those are probably my two that I'm really looking forward to seeing the most. You know what? I actually will change my answer. I will change my answer. Initially, those are my two, right? And as much as I love Luca, I gotta say, one person that fascinates me even more in this 10 Gokaiger movie, yes, Captain Marvelous is number one on my list. The eye patch, I gotta know what's going on with that. So Captain Marvelous, absolutely. But the other person, I'm gonna go with Guy. From the series in here. One, because he just has a completely different look. I mean, homeboy's grown his hair out and everything. It feels like he's really embraced like this space pirate fanboy, as he's probably not even that much of a fanboy as much. I really want to see how he's really conformed himself into a space pirate. Has he fully embraced it? Is this going to be, am I going to get like 80s sci-fi adventurer vibe from Guy when we come back from 10 Gokaiger? So I'm really fascinated. I'm trying to see if he still that fanboy, or has he fully embraced who he is now, and is kind of taking a different approach to his personality now that he's been a space pirate for quite some time. So I want to see his growth from fanboy to space pirate when we get into this movie. So Captain Marvelous and Gokai Silver are my two. Have you rewatched any Real Soldier episodes? Nope. Because I haven't. I got to say, Yui's comedy hits differently now. R.I.P. Mana Kinjo. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it probably does hit significantly different, but I have not rewatched any Real Soldier episodes. If I am going to rewatch anything, it might be the Nada stuff. I wonder if there's anybody on YouTube that has just put together Nada's story on YouTube. You know, like anytime Void Knight pops up, or Void Knight, anytime Guy Sorg pops up along with Nada, like just putting that storyline together, I would love to see it. So I would probably watch the Nada episodes, the Guy Sorg episodes, all the way up to the Max Real Soul episode, and then that's probably where I would watch it. I have no intentions of rewatching Real Soldier. Jessica Friedman says, do you think the new Jonathan Entwistle Rangers series will go on Netflix? And would you like to see one of the past Rangers spinoff get a second chance one day? Yes, I do think Jonathan Entwistle's Rangers series will go to Netflix. I think that might be the new home for that Power Rangers series. As far as one of the past Rangers spinoff to get a second chance, I don't know if they've had a first chance. I don't think there's been a past Rangers spinoff to get a second chance. Or maybe you mean like for a past Ranger to get a second chance in an upcoming spinoff. In some way or some capacity, I would like to, like, for instance, like, David Yost was talking about doing a revival series for the MMPR cast, seeing that team in like a more current time. So I wouldn't mind that idea of like older actors coming back and portraying their characters again in some sort of spinoff. I would be open to that. Like the David Yost stuff, give that to me. I would absolutely love to see something like that. I just don't know if it's something. And again, it kind of goes back to the nostalgia factor, like I can see that being picked up because it is focusing on the MMPR team, what's the chances of, say, a Jen Scott spinoff series? Fuck, give that to me. I would take that in a heartbeat. I would take a Jen Scott spinoff series in a heartbeat. I just don't know what the popularity of it would be, and if Hasbro would pay attention to that. But I guess it would just depend on the Ranger itself. You know what I mean? If it depends on the Ranger itself. Johnny Marrero, we've seen the art from MMPR and TMNT. Could we see a comic sequel happen? Keeping my fingers crossed, Johnny. I really am. That's my that's my only wish that I really wish that I can see again. So I'm hoping that that's what they're hinting at. Maybe Power Month will be a reveal to us. Could a Power Rangers sitcom still happen later down the line, like Transformers announced the new animated series for Nickelodeon? Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It just depends on if it's going to be like the reimagined or rebooted or classic stuff. That I don't know. Could a Forever Red comic happen one day? You know what? I would take that. Could it happen? I think anything is possible for sure. I feel like 2020 has certainly shown that to us. There have been some crazy ass announcements that I never thought I would ever hear happen. So could a Forever Red comic happen one day? Yes. Do I see it happening though? Probably not. It could, but I think the chances are kind of low. And if anything, I wouldn't even necessarily want a one issue comic. Like, don't hit me with a one shot. If you're gonna do anything, give me like a 3-part miniseries, similar to how we did like Drac and New Dawn. I would take like another adventure for the Red That's the red team, definitely. Marcelino Vasquez has a couple questions. When you're asked questions that involve you choosing from a vast amount of seasons, most of the time, you choose from Beast Morphers. Why? Is it because Beast Morphers is the most recent season aside from Dino Fury? So it's easier to remember as opposed to other seasons? If you need an example to understand no, I get what you're saying. I think for me, it's been such a long time since I've had the opportunity to revisit some of the past seasons. So sometimes for me, going through the memory banks doesn't always compute. So for me, sometimes it is easier to be able to grasp onto things that are just really more current that I can recall. Like the Disney era stuff, I've probably have gone through a lot of those seasons maybe once, one and a half times, right? So memory banks not necessarily flooded with a lot of easy moments to just snatch out of the air immediately. You know what I mean? So I do go with a lot more current stuff that's just easier to remember and easier to grasp on from moments, unless they were like really big, impactful moments from watching the series throughout that have really sort of impacted me and changed me kind of growing. And then it's easier for me to grab onto those. So I definitely get what you're saying. Like if you were asked some of your favorite moments in Power Rangers, would you choose Beast Morphers? Like no, like there are clearly other moments throughout Power Rangers that I certainly would pick from. So not all of the questions that I go back to are Beast Morphers related. A lot of the stuff I feel like, if anything, I probably highlight more original Saban era stuff because that's what I really grew up on. So more original Saban stuff along with more current Neo Saban and Hasbro stuff is more in tune with me than the Disney era. Not to say that those series weren't great whatsoever, but I think it's just what's really stuck in your memory banks after all that time. So like if somebody were to ask me my favorite moments in Power Rangers, I definitely wouldn't choose them all from Beast Morphers, that's for sure. There's plenty of more in Power Rangers history that just jump out to me. You said, what did you think of the Ninja Storm episode when Tori went into a parallel universe in which the villains are the good guys and the Power Rangers are evil? Let's see here. I'm trying to remember that episode off the top of my head here. I don't remember it off the top of my head. The Wild Wipeout. That's the episode I believe that you're referring to. I'm always a sucker for parallel universes just in general, though. Like for me, anytime we get the opportunity to see the opposite, like I love the idea of being able to see the good guys performing or acting bad, like bad guys, like even going so far back as like Mighty Morphin when we had like Kimberly and Billy with all of a sudden like the new attitude adjustments. You know what I mean? Just getting an opportunity to see them portraying themselves as evil versions. I always I always get thrilled with that. So having to face off against evil Power Rangers. Anytime it's a evil Power Ranger, I'm there for it. So while I may not necessarily remember the episode, I can probably guarantee you I really enjoyed it. I probably really enjoyed it. Let's see here. We a couple questions from Adam Perea. He says, when do you think we will get an announcement of the release date of Dino Fury episode 2? And if you could put your money on it, do you think the episode might finally be the one with Jordan Fight's debut as a Gold Ranger? And how would you like him to be introduced to the show? I don't. If anything, an announcement for the release date of Dino Fury. I'm hoping in Power Month. I don't know exactly, like August 12th we'll get this date. But I am hoping that sometime in August, Power Month will certainly go ahead and give us that release date. And if I had to put my money on it, do I think the episodes might finally be? I don't think episode 12 will be Jordan Fight's debut, but I definitely do think like before episode 15 is where I'm kind of putting my money at right now. Before episode 15. As far as how I would like him to be introduced to the show, for some reason, a part of me is really wanting to see him established more. I feel like when it comes to Zato, this whole idea of like signals, sending signals out, right? Episode 3 lost signal. They got a signal in, not really sure where it came from, couldn't really break down the signal, right, or understand what it said. We've seen him sending out signals. We even seen him trying to boost to send his signal out to more people recently. So I'm hoping it's through another signal. I'm hoping it's through some sort of form of communication of Ion trying to send him some type of message, that, hey, I heard that you were still alive, that my people are still out there. If he's a fellow Rafkanian, is that what they're called? Rafkanians? I don't know. But maybe responding finally in message form to one of these messages that Zato has been sent out. If you could make your own Power Rangers season, which Ranger would you take from each era of Power Rangers, and what would your storyline be? Oh goodness, I mean, maybe I can pick out the Rangers storyline. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that. Which Ranger would you take from each era? So I'm assuming I'm having a team of 4 right now. Okay. I'm gonna take TJ. Jen. No. Wait, Jen was Disney. So TJ, Jen. For this case, I don't necessarily know if Beast Morphers is considered Neo Saban or Hasbro. I'm going to put it in Hasbro. So I have at least 2 seasons worth to choose from for a Hasbro era. So TJ from original Saban era. Give me Jen from the Disney era. If I had to go with Neo Saban era, I'm probably taking Gia. And then if I had to go with, yeah, I'm probably taking Gia or Jake. If I had to go with, I'll go with Gia though. If I had to go from Hasbro, including Beast Morphers, oof, damn. Damn, this is a tough one. I will take. Damn. Zato, are you making this cut, my guy? I've got 3 right off the top of my head that I'm debating between. Ravi, Nate. You know what? Give me Nate. Give me Nate. I'm gonna take Nate. I'm gonna take Nate. I need a scientist on my team for sure. Yeah, I'll take Nate. So those would be my 3. Those would be my 3. If I had to take one Ranger from every era, put him in a 4 team, give me TJ, give me Jen, Gia, and Nate. Those are what I'll take. Um, which villain from Super Sentai you'd like to fight each other or team up? Oh, in regards to villains, post Mighty Morphin and a team and somebody from Super Sentai. Oh man. Post Mighty Morphin. I was always a big fan of Rancic. I'm trying to think of Super Sentai that I've watched that I would love to see Rancic team up with. I'll probably take. Give me Bosco. Bosco. Give me Rancic and Bosco together. I think that'd be deadly. I think those guys would be deadly. Let's see here. Other sets of questions. This is from Power Rangers Legacy. What things do you think stood out in the original Saban and Disney era seasons of Power Rangers? Well, I will say the one thing that stood out to me when it comes to original Saban stuff that I was always a big fan of, and it's something that I to this day, I wish that they stuck around with. I love the mentality of Saban of having connective tissue, you know, every season leading into the next one, you know, adding to the Rangers, I think, in just a really great connective tissue way. You know, it was like the MCU before the MCU became a thing. Going from one series, progressing it into the next one with power ups, new villains, pushing the storyline forward, and making these connections just seem so incredibly um, just fluid. Um, I guess the in space finale is kind of like the Avengers Endgame to the Saban era type of stuff. Just having all the pieces of the puzzle kind of finally come together, um, and have big ramifications all across the universe and things like that. So that's one thing that always stood out to me. Not necessarily even storylines, but just the idea of having those storylines connected and the connected tissues, and the idea of really allowing these characters to grow, not only with the audience, but just themselves as characters, right? And just becoming better at it. So if anything, that's always what stood out to me about the Saban era. What stood out to me about the Disney era? I think for me, what always stood out about the Disney era was two things, probably. I always felt that they were pretty original, pretty original concepts in regards to tackling some of these series. Fresh set designs, fresh introduction to characters, right? Like I didn't feel like it was always a high school setting, really taking creative liberties. It was always creative and unique in that sense. That always stood out to me when it comes to Disney. But then also the fight choreography, I always felt was like on a completely another level. Like the stunt coordination, the second unit directors, like they always push the envelope. I felt like when it came to Disney era stuff, each and every season. That those are the type of things that always stood out to me. It's originality and uniqueness for each individual season, and it's fighting are the two things. What did you think of the premiere of Ultraman Trigger after seeing it a few more times? And what do you wish was better or different? Um, again, I really was really pleased with the first one. Not too bad for a premiere. Got me fascinated and intrigued enough to come back for the second one. And I think episode 2 even builds off of that. And really adds to it. Like I even think episode 2 is better than the first one. If there was anything different, what do I wish was better or different? A lot of this stuff I think is also coming from me, which is a point of view of I'm new to this franchise, you know. So a lot of questions in regards to how things are done on the show that maybe I personally am not too familiar with. You know, maybe there's a certain way that Ultraman kind of tells its stories that I'm not familiar with. So I wasn't quite sure if that a lot of the stuff that I wasn't thrilled with, like if that was just me having to get used to how they tell stories, or if it was just meant to be confusing. You know what I mean? There are moments where I feel like I'm scratching my head, kind of asking myself questions, wondering if I should know this stuff already, or if I'm supposed to kind of go into this season blind and maybe eventually do my own research in regards to it. So I do wish maybe a little bit more clarity on things, but I'm wondering if the lack of clarity is meant to add to the mystery of this season, if it makes any sense. But I don't know. I mean, episode 1, you know, I guess flesh out the characters a little bit more is something I would like to see, which is what I saw in episode 2. Which I was definitely thankful for. You know, episode 1 feels like hey, we've got a lot of stuff that we've got to kind of introduce, a lot of lore. How much can we fit into the first episode? So sometimes it felt like a little bit too much. Sometimes it felt like just the right amount. But this one I think fleshes things out just a little bit more, at least in regards to characters. So if I wanted them to do that differently, I can see that season is easily going to progress into that. Other than that, I mean, I'll just have to see where the story leads me. You know, I don't really have too many things change that I would want to see after the first episode. I'm kind of want to just go on this ride and see where it takes us, you know? What plot or storyline from Real Soldier do you not want Dino Fury to take on, or even footage that made you cringe? If they could not let Real Soul Brown be a one-off, I would love that. If they can give us more original footage of Real Soul Brown, I'm there for it. Do I not want? So yeah, I definitely don't want that. And I'm debating in how I want them to handle Guy Sorg, aka Void Knight. You know, in Guy Sorg and Real Soldier, spoiler alert for people who haven't had the opportunity to watch Real Soldier. Void Knight by the middle of this, or I should say, Guy Sorg by the middle of the episode or season, kind of does a redemption arc, you know, and we see a very emotional kind of you know, just a emotional moment. I'm hoping Void Knight sticks around the entirety. I don't necessarily know if do I need a redemption arc for Void Knight? No, I don't need one, but I am a sucker for a good redemption arc. If I can get a good solid redemption arc from Void Knight, I'll take it. Especially understanding what he's fighting for in regards to trying to bring back a love. Now, who knows? That could be a really demented type of love, you know? That could just unleash all hell if these two ever got back together. I'm still very much under the understanding that Centaura, this lady that's in this water or this cryogenic, you know, placement, I do think that she will turn out to be Precious from the Super Sentai series Real Soldier as one of the villains. So I'm kind of curious as to like if they go verbatim from Real Soldier, like I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to turn out. Like, is Santora going to turn on Void Knight and destroy him once she's brought him back to life and she takes over as Precious? Possible. I don't know. Does he sacrifice himself? Does he become redeemed and then eventually help lead towards Zato getting his maybe battleizer mode in the Real Soul Max sort of design? There's a lot of opportunities here for them to do things significantly different with Void Knight than they want to. So I'm hoping they take their liberties. I right now, the Nada and the sacrificing stuff and his turn, that feels very appropriate for that of Real Soldiers. So I don't necessarily know if I want them to go that route for Dino Knight. I do hope that they go a more unique and original route with Void Knight. But I wouldn't be opposed to a redemption. You know, I wouldn't be opposed, just as long as the story is told well. And Dino AJ, he's got a couple questions. I've been watching the new iCarly revival series, which used to be a kid show on Nickelodeon, but now a more mature show on Paramount Plus. It's been very great so far with making the show for adults while still giving some of the original kid vibes. The only adult stuff are curse words, drinking alcohol, and an actual LGBTQ character, part of the main cast. Do you think Power Rangers might get to that point in the future? Maybe if Hasbro movie is successful. I think that's what Power Rangers might turn itself into for the rebooted and reimagined, that Jonathan Entwistle is working on. When I picture Power Rangers, that's the things that you mentioned about iCarly, in a sense, making a show for adults, still maybe some original kid vibes in there, but the adult stuff, like some curse words, I don't know if adding drinking alcohol or whatnot, actual LGBTQ characters would certainly go a long way. Whether it is drinking or partying or, smoking that 420, like I'm okay with that, all of that being included in an upcoming Power Rangers kind of show. Not to say that all the Power Rangers need to be, stoners. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like the element of real life, not sort of keeping a kid show in this bubble away from real world harm, you know what I'm saying, or real world situations. But, the idea of a revival show, understanding that the people that followed iCarly are now older, right? I think this is similar to what maybe David Yost is trying to do with Power Rangers in regards to a more modern day revival. You've got the characters are older now. You understand that your fan base is older now. You give them the same characters, but with a different and older and more mature themed plot. I don't think that's out of the realm of impossibility. I think that's exactly what we're planning on getting from Power Rangers with Jonathan Entwistle and maybe even David Yost, if his revival series ever gets picked up or off the ground. So I definitely very much so. What do you think of the Super Sentai parody series Waku Saver? And did you realize it's only 10-minute to 12-minute, yet very enjoyable? And I absolutely love the cinematography. Looks absolutely beautiful. So right now, for those of you who don't know, Waku Saver is a brand new tokusatsu series that's being premiered over on YouTube. It is a tokusatsu series, mind you, that is coming from a company called Studio Giga, if I'm not mistaken. But they're mostly known for adult videos, guys. They're mostly known for like adult videos, or at least adult themed videos, a lot of skin, scantily clad tokusatsu women, if you will. This series, though, feels like maybe them trying to take a little bit more of a serious route in regards to tokusatsu. Just be mindful that this series in Waku Saver is being presented in two different formats, okay? Side A is being released over on YouTube. It's more of the friendly version, if you will, that's more acceptable to watch. But then I do believe that they're going to be dropping a side B, which will have much more of the adult-esque aspect to it. That's going to be just released on DVD and Blu-ray, if I'm not mistaken. We're reviewing the side A side, the little cleaner side, if you will. So it's different to say the least. The production value was probably a little bit less than what they're doing for Super Sentai and Kamen Rider as of right now. But what they're able to do with the budget that they have, special effects wise for their Rangers, look great. The suits look marvelous. Like whoever the costume designer is, I hope Toei picks up the phone and is like, hey, we would love to bring you on board to help us create some designs. Not to say that Toei is lacking or anything like that, but I really like the work in the costume designs that they wind up creating for Waku Saber in here. The idea of 10 to 12-minute episodes is rather interesting to me. When I'm reviewing it, because we are reviewing this show in Waku Saber, it is part of our $1 tier for our patrons. So our patrons are certainly getting the opportunity to watch our particular reviews. It's just $1 a month, but they get this as a part of their exclusivity, if you will. We have the first 2 episodes up there on our Patreon right now. Episode 3, I believe, is available on YouTube. So I'm probably going to try and watch that this weekend and post episode number 3 up on our Patreon as well. For me, I'm not minding it so much. It's okay. It's okay. It's not something I'm really writing home about, but I am fascinated by it. It is something that intrigues me. 10 to 12-minute episodes is something that's difficult to pull off. I mean, honestly, if you're taking yourself seriously, and I think for me that's one of the struggles that I'm having with Waku Saber is my own personal mentality, right? How serious are you taking this? Like, is Studio Geiga taking this seriously? Is this supposed to be their first foray into tokusatsu? Are they just playing around with it and having some fun? Is this like a test subject for them to see how well that they do? I even heard the idea that they might be coming out with another series, more like Metal Hero driven, if you will. I believe it's the same company. Maybe I'm wrong though. But if this is their first trial run, there's some good things and there are some bad things. Clearly, for me, again, and this probably has a lot to do with what their budget is and things like that. But if they're putting this together, this is what I'm looking at. Okay. Performances, we could do a lot better with the actors that we have here. Okay. A little bit flat sometimes, a little bit lack of emotion. I don't know if that's meant to be like Planet Pink Earth. I think she is supposed to be like devoid of emotions facially, maybe, just because of the fact that she is an alien. Episode 1 was a little bit difficult for me. It was a little bit slow. Great action, non-linear storytelling, which I wasn't the biggest fan of in the first episode. So it's not like hey, let's introduce you to our main character, let's get to know what they love to do or their job sort of thing. Let's get to understand the mythos and the lore about these powers, how they got these powers, jumping into their first fight. No, I mean, it kicks off right into action, which is great, but then we automatically have a huge dip off in just pacing, introducing us to a character that barely speaks, barely has any facial expressions, gets introduced to this creeper that's chilling behind his curtains that pops up and is like, hey, you're so-and-so, here's your ability, let's go. And he's like, how did you even get in here? And I'm thinking to myself, how long have you been behind my curtains in my house? Like creeper mode, like just complete creeper mode to me, the first episode. But then episode 2 gets a little bit better. The pacing gets better. Introduced to a new character in Blue Mercury, a photographer on Earth, a lot more personality, if you will. They bump up the pacing a lot more. And it felt like a full-fledged episode. I was like, not too bad for episode 2. Episode 2 clearly impressed me a lot more than the first episode. So again, there are difficulties in trying to make a show that's literally 10 minutes long. It's all about pacing, storyline execution, and how much information can you give us within that amount of time. And if you focus on those 3 things, I think you can pull off 10 to 12 minutes really well. Other times, if you're using your time incorrectly, it could be a gigantic bust. And for me, episode was kind of hit or miss for me. Great things, but some things to clearly work on. Episode 2, I felt like they took some of that and ran with it. Really solid second episode. So I'm really kind of looking forward to the third one. We'll see what we wind up getting. But I approach it the same way I approach Zenkaiger and Karamager and Ultraman. If you're gonna put out a tokusatsu series, I'm comparing it. I'm comparing, not necessarily comparing it, but I'm also trying to take into account again the budget, what you're trying to do in a short amount of time, but also giving it its fair shot where it's at. And so some great moments of great cinematography, like AJ said, some great graphics at certain moments. The Ranger stuff, great stuff. It's really all about the story and the characters. Can you hook me on them? And so far, it's here and there type of thing. But I would recommend it. Again, it is Waku Saver. It WAKUSAVER. You can find them the first 3 episodes on their YouTube page. And then he also asked, what do you think made Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, and Turbo movie stand out from each other? And what elements do you want or wish Hasbro movie borrows? Oh, the Power Ranger movie stands out. If that movie stands out, it's probably for all the wrong reasons. So Hasbro, just pretend like there's not even a movie. Okay, just don't even look at that movie. Don't go there for other elements to borrow. No, that's just Turbo movie. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. Okay. Hasbro, if you are going to borrow anything, any elements from a classic movie, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 1995 was certainly a way to go. Great balance on a focus of team characters, great balance of actual Power Rangering. Really would go a great way for an upcoming movie. So don't forget that. The benefit that Mighty Morphin 1995 has is the idea of it's not an origin story, right? It's an idea of putting the team already together that we've all grown up and loved about, and immediately seeing them together and just going on a movie-length mission. That's the benefit of Mighty Morphin 1995. They don't have to take that exposition for each character and build them up and form them together and put them out on their first battle, right? So there is something to that. So whether or not this is going to be another origin story in a sense or not, who certainly knows? But I think if anything, continue to take the teamwork aspect from the movie. I would even utilize that from or I should say like the characters themselves, right? The camaraderie between the characters. You can take that from the 95 movie. You can take that from the 2017 movie, whatever works best for you. But do not forget the most important part of a Power Ranger movie, Power Rangers. Okay. The 95 movie did that perfectly. Great amount of battles, if you ask me, right? We got the battle in the beginning. Really cool stunt performance from the air diving stuff. But then we've got like the construction site battle. We even have a ninjutsu battle in there also. And don't we have I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if we had another battle after that or if they immediately went into their Zords. But we got at least 2.5 Power Ranger battles in that one movie alone. So yeah, let's have some fun with it, guys. Let's don't forget the Power Rangering is what I would definitely recommend. All right, guys. I think other than that, I think that wraps up all of our live viewer questions, guys. So thank you very much for everybody certainly coming through with their opinions and thoughts and opening up things for discussion. If anything, I will jump back into the comment section just for a brief moment, just to see if we've got any stragglers, last minute people coming out. Alden, what's up, Alden? Appreciate you. I can't wait for the flame toy version of the Megazord. Hasbro needs the Transformers version of the Megazords. Oh yeah, I would absolutely love to see that. Yeah, bring back the idea of the individual Zords that you can transform or whatever the case may be, or anything like that. I would be completely on board with that. But yeah, appreciate you coming and joining us, Alden. Thank you very much. I'm seeing a bunch of AJ up here and up in here. Let's see who else we got. A couple other questions. Enrique says it's super is Super 2 Kaiser going to be debuted on Zenkaiser's 20th episode? I believe so. I believe I've seen pictures already from the preview for this week's episode, so I do believe so. Ooh, Datilla, according to Wikipedia, episode 12 is the 931st episode. How do you think Hasbro will celebrate the 1000th episode? Is there anything you would like to see? That's a good question. And this is going to be a question that I think might upset some people. If episode 12 is the 931st episode, do I think we'll have 1000th episode? I do. I just don't think it's going to be in the format that people expect. Like, we got what, 20, maybe 30 more episodes of maybe about 30 more episodes of Dino Fury, give or take. So that'll bring us up to what, like 960? I think our 1000th episode. Two things here, guys. Okay, two things here. Like, I'm wondering if you are going to reboot and reimagine. I'm wondering if the 1000th episode will be a Jonathan Entwistle episode, or if they're going, or if they continue along with the kids side of things, the kids show, if they would commemorate the kids show as the 1000th episode. You know what I mean? That's a good question. That's tricky. Will we even get a 1000th episode celebration, right? Like, will Hasbro even celebrate the idea like this is the 1000th episode that we've ever had? It's hard to imagine that there's had to have been over 1000 episodes already. Has there not been over 1000 episodes of Power Rangers already? With 28 seasons? It's got to be, right? It's got to be. There's got to be. Maybe Wikipedia's wrong, though. I don't know. Because right now I'm just thinking to myself, if there is a celebration for 1000, I'm wondering if it'll be a Jonathan Entwistle episode. I don't know how you. That's a tough question to tell, but I appreciate you asking at least. Let's see here. Charles says, in MMPR, White Light Tommy was revealed as the White Ranger and leader by Zordon. In Zeo, Gold incoming Jason told Tommy not to make an issue that he, Jason, was the leader. And he doesn't want to go back to being leader and take that title back from Tommy. Tommy never said Zordon made him the leader over you, but that did happen. I heard the reason for Tommy as leader over Jason was the peace conference, but that was after Tommy became leader and the White Ranger. I don't remember Zordon, Tommy, and Jason talking about switching leadership roles. Why was Tommy picked over Jason? AJ did pop in. He says Tommy was picked because Walter Trini already left after the show, so that line was added post-production. Austin said same thing at cons before, so Tommy became leader. I'll even add a little bit something else to this. I think also, again, this is if you take this as canon or not, but if I'm not mistaken, in the comic books, doesn't Jason and Zordon have that conversation about who he wants to take over for him? And I think Jason even has a conversation with Tommy in the comics, at least, and again in the comics, about the idea that there's a reason why he kind of put him as the leader, because Jason had believed in him, if you will. So I feel like Jason and Zordon have had this conversation before and expressed that maybe in comic book form. Again, I don't know if that's necessarily canon or if that's how it kind of works, but I was always under the impression that once Jason left, he gave that up, and that's Zordon giving him the title. I mean, if Jason kind of wants to come back, I never saw Jason and Zeo as the leader of the team. I still saw it as Tommy. So I think once Jason departed and went off onto his own way, I think that immediately brings Zordon to make that decision. And again, I don't think like for me, it's not far fetched. Even if the comic books are not canon, okay, it's not far fetched to me to think that Jason would have had a conversation with Zordon or even Tommy, for that matter, to suggest Tommy being the leader of the Rangers. But that's just how I've kind of seen it. AJ does say, I don't think Hasbro will do anything amazing for the 1000th episode of Power Rangers. Power Rangers has been very bad with huge milestones as of late. Well, that was Neo Saban. Yeah, we'll see if Hasbro's paying attention to that type of stuff. I would be interested to see if Hasbro's paying attention to the idea that 1000 episodes is almost here, whether or not we'll get that in the kid show format when things kind of get rebooted, or if that's going to come for Jonathan Entwistle, and if they even continue sort of that that numbering, if you will, for Power Rangers. We'll see if they even tackle it. That's a good question to tell. I hope they do. I hope they do. Even if it's just like a cameo of Austin St. John coming through as Jason, or JDF having a role as Tommy, or just something small to represent Power Rangers as a whole to celebrate. I would be down for that too, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. I think other than that, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for us here today. So thank you very much, guys, joining us every Saturday as we do around here, going live at noon Central Time for you guys. So thank you very much. We certainly will be back next weekend for you as well. If you guys are big Marvel fans, DC fans, big into movies and television, join us live also on Sunday. So tomorrow, live at noon Central Time on our other channel, APlus Hero Reports. Check us out there, guys, as we'll go ahead and wrap up news from the week as well for those franchises too. So definitely join us then. And of course, we'll certainly be back later on this week. We clearly have on Toku Tuesdays. We definitely have Super Sentai and Kamen Rider content headed your way, whether that be review or reactions. There's also a couple of Real Soldier movies that I'm probably going to be trying to review for you guys and break down. And I might even tackle one or two Gokaiger movies also for you guys before we even move on to our next Super Sentai season that we wind up reacting to. So, yeah, other than that, guys, I think that's going to do it for us here. But if you guys have any questions, comments, want to go ahead and continue to talk about some of the other articles that we talked about today, let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. It definitely does go a long way. And plus, we certainly don't mind continuing to have great discussions with you guys around here. If you've been joining us in the live chat, if you're still here, do us a big favor, hit that like button, guys. It definitely does go a long way as well to go ahead and continue to show your support. But other than that, we'll be back next week. So until then, do me a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and of course, keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.